What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is January the 23rd. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, the only data point to really watch for today is going to be the initial jobless claims coming out first thing in roughly around 2 minutes. So I'll give you an update while on this video. Forecast right now is 219. I feel like the market will really want that to be slightly negative, nothing crazy, nothing too high, and it looks like it came in at 223. So that is kind of good, so a little bit hotter than anticipated. And the reason why we want negative data is the market is kind of yearning for something to justify a move higher, and rate cuts is that. And if you're having good data, essentially you don't need rate cuts. So I think this data is going to be interpreted fairly well. So NASDAQ right now is down 0.44, S&P down 0.08, and Dow is up 0.09. I'll just hit refresh, and so yeah, it is moving higher. So exactly as I mentioned, so the market is seeing this negative data as positive. So we're kind of back in that backwards scenario. But aside from that, Saudi plans 600 billion in new US investment trade over 4 years. This is one big thing that came out after hours yesterday. A lot of people are trying to speculate on what sectors will benefit. I think with the Saudi 2030 vision, it will be associated to AI technology, renewables. I don't think it'll be oil oriented all that much, but I think those are some of the sectors that should benefit. One thing that was kind of spooking the broader market prior to this data was this. So you do have interest rate decision rate here out of Japan, and Japan holds a lot of US bonds. And so if they do raise the rates in Japan, which right now the forecast is for that to happen, going from 0.25 to 0.5, then that does mean that there might be some capital that does get pulled out from US treasuries, bonds, back into Japan. And that we saw a very similar scenario play out in the broader market roughly in April. So I'll give you a quick overview of what I mean by that. So looking April 2024, it did prompt a very nice crazy pullback from 550 all the way to roughly around 517. So that potentially could be coming once again if maybe you have this fear starting to resurge. So just anticipate that. But this is kind of weird. So the fear and greed index is moving a little bit higher despite the market was kind of moving down. So this is still, I think, right now broken. But Sofi is red, just piggybacking off the broader market, and nothing really new or anything like that associated to them. So no news. So they just had that negative rating that came out yesterday. Not the best. I don't know why anyone would give that rating. $6 of a rating is kind of crazy, but nonetheless, it is kind of pulling back slightly. As far as shorts, they did return a lot yesterday. Logically, still, I feel like returning would be the logical thing. So currently sitting at 11.81% of the free float. They might also be taking advantage of potentially the fear associated to Japan. So it could be either way for today. But as far as right now with it at $17.39, it is trading right above this R2. So 17.34 is going to be a key one to really watch for it to hold today. If not, it could potentially retrace back to that 1672, so within this R2 and R1. So just watch for that. Flip side, if something good does come out, 1833 could potentially be that next round target / resistance. American Airlines did miss on their earnings, so it is pulling back slightly, down 6.27%. It's not all that heavily shorted, so 6.62% of the free float's being shorted. I felt like shorts were anticipating good data. United, a lot of other airlines had very good earnings over the last little bit. So I feel shorts returning this amount. They were anticipating the same to happen for American. Unfortunately, it looks like no dice. It is recovering slightly though, but with it at 1761, it is trading between these 2 points, so the R1 and the pivot. So 1667 is going to be the next strong support. I don't see that being touched. 1813 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And in my opinion, that could be touched, but I think more the likely option is that it's going to trade within these 2 points right there. So let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to VNCE, so Vince Holdings, it is up 57.02%. This stock's been one very volatile stock, going from $1.30 to a peak of roughly $5. Actually, it looks like around $6.89, so crazy stuff. But it has started to pull back, and today it is going up because P180 requires Sun Capital's majority stake in Vince Holdings Corp. So, in my opinion, I don't see that being a good reason to justify this increase, because it's not really operational. So as far as justifying this, I don't see it being on the table. So just tread with caution, in my opinion. But it's not heavily shorted, so only 2.01% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 48.57 thousand shares. If you're looking at trading it with it at $3.82, trading between this pivot and this S1, 396 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. Given the momentum behind the scenes, it could touch it. Like I said, is it justified? No, but there's a lot of cases out there where stocks just go up like crazy, and it's not always justified all that much. So potentially, given the amount of momentum, you could see this pivot point being touched. Then 608, I don't see that being touched whatsoever. And then flip side, $1.84 is going to be the next strong support. I don't see that being touched. RGTI is kind of just was piggybacking off the broader market. There was no news recently associated to it, so it's just kind of stuck in limbo. I don't see them being the recipient of any of this money, or even as well that $500 billion from that joint partnership with SoftBank, Oracle, and I can remember someone else as well. But RGTI is kind of just stuck in limbo. 18.85% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 47.4 million shares, and in reality, shorts have been very reactive to the stock price. So every time it starts to gain some momentum, you have shorts pretty much pouncing all over it straight away. So yeah, definitely that might make for a hard time for it to essentially go up. But honestly, it's a very big momentum play. You need capital to get in. And over the last little 2 trading days, capital is actually been getting out right here. So just the overall dollar value dropped roughly around, was it 16 million just from the 21st to 22nd. So something just to keep in mind. As far as if you're looking at trading it with a 1339, is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 1246 is going to be the next strong support. Then 1879 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So this is based on the fib levels. You're going to have a lot of different variations of other strong support and resistance points, so kind of just stay tuned for that. I just posted a update on my Patreon about RGTI, where I see things going, and so if you're interested, pop over there and take a look. And then last but not least, as far as what big money is doing today, they're looking at this, so VIGL. So right over here, it is a biotech, 66 employees. For those of you that have been kind of watching my channel, biotechs aren't really my forte for the most part. So this is the news that is prompting it to go higher. It's over my head whether it's justified. Of course, I think it's very basic understanding that phase 1 is pretty much like it's the make it or break it point alongside phase 3. Because yeah, there's a lot that could go wrong with it. But yeah, I think this is good. You guys do your own due diligence on this one. Like I said, it's kind of over my head. Not that heavily shorted, so 3.29% of the free float's being shorted. So shorts haven't really paid attention to this all that much. So for a biotech, that's generally good. With it at $2.44 though, trading between this R2 and this R1. So 231 is going to be the next strong support. And then 256 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So given the momentum, you could definitely see that 256 potentially. So let me know your viewpoint on all of that in the comments below. Is there any other stocks that is floating your boat today? And if so, drop the tickers in the description below. And then, like I mentioned, definitely worthwhile to pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.